Cashman here with Pastor Karen Staple, going to run a show on the Daniel Plan. Something we've been doing here for a while. Welcome to the show again, Karen.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cashman.
We've been having a great deal of fun.
We have.
It's about wellness and eating and exercise. I again want to congratulate you today. You're looking great. And
Well,
I think
thank you. I lost a couple more pounds.
A couple more pounds.
Eating
and,
healthy food.
I told her she's going to look like a movie star, and it really is happening.
Well, you look pretty good today yourself in your white suit and your white hair. I think that's pretty damp, debonair.
Thank you. We try to do what we're teaching, which is really the in essence. And we're trying to teach wellness. It's really what we're doing. We're trying to follow Pastor Rick Warren's from California. The book that he wrote, The Daniel Plan, which you've read, I've read.
Yes, The Purpose-Driven Life, yes.
Yeah,
very popular work.
We recommend that you read it. We're not making any money from sales of it. We don't. It's not our product, but we think it's really good. And what the Daniel Plan really is, it takes religion and faith and spirituality in conjunction with wellness. And they use really the 5 F's, which would be faith, which exactly. I think is all of us, frankly, need some faith, and we have it. Food, fitness, and focus, which will be our main focus today. We're up to focus today, and friends, because we think these things together are much more likely to cause us
some sustainable success.
Sustainable.
Yes.
I love that word, Karen.
Sustainable.
This is not after New Year's 6 weeks and goodbye. This is a way of life. We want to do this the rest of our lives. And part of the reason is, as it says in the Bible, do you not know that your bodies are the temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You're not your own. You were bought at a price.
That's right.
And I think Jesus was his name.
Very heavy price. Yes.
And a very heavy price.
Yes.
And that we have some responsibility of our body.
Yes. Be a good steward.
Be a good steward. And when we present ourselves in heaven, I think Jesus will look at us and will say, well, what have you done throughout your life? And this is really what we're all about. And I think a Daniel Plan is a good way of doing it. And today we're going to focus. How do you get this done? And we want to be, as we discussed, Daniel Strong. What does that mean to you, Karen?
Daniel Strong. It is just the pursuit of excellence, striving to be good stewards over our bodies, our minds, and our spirits for the glory of God. That's Daniel Strong. And I've been learning a lot about it by just reading the book and getting in the lifestyle that Daniel did in the first chapter of Daniel. And it's a wonderful book that, if you haven't read it, it's just a great place to start. It increases your faith. And here is someone against all odds that goes against the grain of everything and says, I'm going to purpose in my heart to do the right thing at all times, even when it seems easier to do the thing that's not so right. But Romans 12:2 says, don't be conformed to this world. And he was one that wasn't, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that's what we're doing. We're rethinking and about how we view food and the things that we put inside of our bodies, which is really great. Of course, when it comes to mind, you're the expert on that. As a neurosurgeon, you could talk a lot about mind, body. That's what you do.
Thank you, Karen.
I'm going to stay out of that area. I'll do the faith thing.
We all try to. I think it's a beautiful explanation of Daniel Strong and how we think is everything.
Yeah.
And how we eat will determine our health. But food is genetic information, which is reacting to our genes in our body. And if we eat the wrong food, we get sick. That is really what it's all about. And sugar really is the main one. I've probably read 300 diet books, treated 40,000 patients over the years, and I know what causes people to be overweight and sick and develop type 2 diabetes, Karen. It's sugar. Yeah, it's not the fat of food. We don't want to eat a lot of fatty food either because it has some omega-6 in it, which inflames our body because a lot of the beef and lamb and things we're eating is raised on non-organic farms full of pesticides and herbicides and genetically modified food. So we don't want to overdo it with fat. But sugar is our main enemy. Many of us, frankly, are addicted to it.
Oh.
It affects our brain. It's our cocaine. It's and I debated someone on Access TV one time, right here, and Emily Bowles, who works with Dr. Furman, very famous individual, and we spoke about addiction. You know, and she feels, because she's been through it, had been overweight, now is normal, is that sugar is very, very addictive.
For sure.
So this is what we need to pay attention to, and we need to focus on that. I say number one in this focus is that we have to pay attention to what's on our plate. This is very important. We have to develop some knowledge. And you know, another gentleman wrote a very good book, a minister, and I'll hold this book up, Reverend Malcolm, was what I found, Why Christians Get Sick. It's all on the line of the Daniel Plan, but it's well written. I recommend it be read. And he is in there a quote from the Bible. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
Which is in Hosea 4:6. That impressed me.
People perish for lack of knowledge.
And that is really our problem. This is what America, not just Christians, including myself, because I'm trying to build knowledge all the time. It's lack of knowledge is why America is 70% overweight, 30-40% obese, certain ethnic racial groups 90%. It's lack of knowledge, because the same people live in another country, they're skinny, they're healthy. And it's that we do not know, we do not realize. And I think some wrong information has been passed out by National Institutes of Health, American Heart Association, Ansel Keys, many other researchers who told us that fat was the cause of vascular disease and diabetes for the last 50 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
They were wrong.
Wow.
And I don't see them on mountaintops right now screaming, we're wrong, you got to change the way you eat. I don't see our government doing either, and that's been a little bit upsetting to me, because I am a doctor, you know. What physician means? Teacher. This is what I'm trying to do.
Well, I'm learning a lot, for sure.
But there's no doubt that we can teach people about proper eating. It's much easier if we do it through faith, because to give up these foods is not easy. What I suggest, and we spoke about that for people, because remember I said about addiction and sugar, is that maybe for 2 weeks, go through, frankly, a detox. And Mark Hyman, who is a co-author on the Daniel Plan book, he wrote another book called Blood Sugar Solutions, very good to read. He even wrote a book on the 2-week detox. I found it to be excellent. He's not saying not to eat. He's not saying not to eat. It's just not to use sugary products. And you have to learn about the 50 different names for sugar.
Wow.
You know, it could be maltose, it could be many different names. You got to learn about the names of sugar, and you got to read the labels. It says fructose, it says sugar. You got to learn to read the labels. And if you go through about a 2-week detox, you know, nothing bad going to happen. This is not like withdrawing, say, from a major narcotic, although you may, you know, at worst be a little dizzy, a little lethargic, but that may not happen at all. And you've detoxed for a few weeks now.
I did, and you're
tell us about your
right.
experience.
Well, you're absolutely right. Sugar, I didn't realize, you know, that sugar was so much a part of my diet. And like, you know, I could say you know, when I didn't have the knowledge, but now that I've got the knowledge, and when you know better, you do better. So I started to read labels more. I began to cut out all white sugar. You know, I would go. I'm the person that would go to McDonald's and order, or go to Starbucks and go order coffee, and maybe put. If it was packets, maybe put 10 sugars in. You know, 2 creams and 10 sugars. Boy, you know, I must have a little coffee with my sugar and cream. But I stopped doing that, and I learned to kind of redirect my palate and learn it. I could really actually enjoy it with a lot less sugar.
Now you don't feel the need.
I don't. It took me 3 good days of no sugar, and then, to be honest with you, I after about 3 weeks, Dr. Cashman, I was really good. Sugar started to get anything with even a lot of sugar, and it started tasting really like
to me sugar
not
anymore.
Good.
You know, I'm with you.
It wasn't good.
I look at sugary products now, and I get a bad taste in my mind.
Yeah, you start to.
But you have to detox. I mean, you gotta. But did I say stop eating? No, that would never work. And if you read Dr. Hyman's book on the 2-week detox, it's like getting rid of cocaine. You know what I mean? It's just you got to detox, not to stop eating. Eat all you want of vegetables and for example, all you want. Find out what the good cruciferous vegetables are, and you certainly can eat some products with fat in them, because remember what I said, fat does not cause an insulin response. It's not sugar. It's not sugar. Well, you don't want to be eating steaks all day, for Pete's sake, and because they have in the omega-6, which cause inflammation. But eat some sautéed chicken or sautéed turkey, for example. And that's interesting. Dr. Furman would saute with water, tablespoonful of water a little bit, and saute. 15 minutes, you get some chicken. Is this hard to prepare? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Add a nice salad with it, a great meal. He never said to cut back on the food, but just the sugar products, so they lose their effect on your brain.
Well, I noticed that I did have a better, clear mind.
Yeah.
I started to think a little clearer, not so much brain fog, that you would get, and my knees started aching.
Yeah.
They stopped aching.
Yeah.
They stopped. I would get achy knees at night sometimes.
Yeah, and sugar will do that, inflame the joints.
Wow.
And
that's enough right
and
there.
also don't use sugar substitutes. I'll tell you why, because they're about 7 times sweeter than sugar, and you'll get used to eating high sugary products, and you'll want sweeter foods after that. Yeah, I don't use any substitutes, just forget it. It's just going to increase your appetite for sugar. Yeah, unhealthy. They especially cause belly fat, and belly fat usually in the liver makes things even much worse. The reason that sugar, and I've mentioned this on previous shows, but I think it's so important we need to go through it again, is that sucrose, table sugar, okay, is 50% glucose and 50% fructose. How to speak to anybody who knows the other 50%. I was talking to 2 med students the other day, didn't know it, which bothered me a little bit. and I need to write a letter to the dean about that one, because that's so important to us, is that glucose goes to the liver, 20% used for metabolism in the liver, okay? 20% goes to the brain, that's our main energy food, okay? The rest goes to the muscles as glycogen, used up with energy. Now, if you ate an awful lot of pure glucose, well, you could get fat, but that's not easy to do. Fructose, the other 50%, okay? Remember the chemical formula, the 2 is the same, C6, H12 is the same, but one is configured differently. It's an isomer of it. It's different the way the O2 and the hydrogen atoms are located. It's different. It goes to the bloodstream, does not increase your insulin level. It goes to the liver, sucks up your energy molecule, ATP. It's converted to fatty liver and causes insulin resistance. That means sugar can't get in the cells for energy. Leptin resistance means leptin can't turn off your appetite.
Wow.
And goes into the blood system, causes very low density LDL, and that's what causes vascular disease. It's sugar.
Sugar.
Not fat. Not fat. That's the reason I want you to pay a lot of attention
focus.
To focus.
Yeah.
Focus on the sugar.
Sugar that
That
you eat.
alone will cause your belly to go down.
It will.
And it will make weight
will.
loss, quite easy. So you might say to me, well, Dr. Cashman, how do you eat? I eat seafood. Food I see, I eat. No, so clean out your kitchen. Go through your kitchen. You can't be having donuts in there and sugary products in there, because you come home at night after a hard day's work or whatever, you're going to grab those things. So all of us are subject to seafood, okay? So eliminate the seafood, the bad and the bad foods in the house. Have something available for a snack, okay? So some nuts, would be good. I think some.
Any particular nuts?
I'm not going to pick one for you.
Okay.
I
like all kind of nuts.
Oh yeah, vary them around. I even eat some macadamium now. They're a little more fat, but it's sort of mid-level of fat. And fat's good for you. Okay, as long as you're fairly normal weight. If you're way overweight, you don't lose weight. You can't be eating fatty nuts. So cashews. Dr. Furman likes cashews. That's his favorite nut.
I like all those.
And
pecans.
Yeah, and so there's a good snack. Has something ready. You know what I mean? I'm not totally opposed to a piece of cheese. It's got some fat in it, but like I said, a limited amount of that. If you're not way overweight, have a piece of cheese. I think that's okay. So you have to learn what good snacks are. Some vegetables. Best thing, of course, is some raw vegetables. To have some raw vegetables would be a good thing.
I fell in love with roasted vegetables.
Yeah.
Putting a little olive oil and
olive oil to roast them.
Garlic and put them in the oven on 400.
Yeah, it's
salt
great.
Pepper. It's great.
Yeah.
Just pop them in your
Some
mouth.
people use some kale chips.
Oh yes,
That's a beautiful one.
I got some of those.
Kale is a 1,000, according to Dr. Furman, on the nutrient density scale.
They are actually good.
So cut the big stem off of there and make them little chips, and then you add a little.
Really good.
It's a little bit of olive oil and 300 degrees for 15 minutes, and they are delicious.
Yes, they are.
Full of vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals. It's the most healthiest food around. What a great snack that is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you can make them from other vegetables actually, but kale would in these recipes in these books of Dr. Furman and Daniel Plan and these are in these books. And you gotta, and I say this very strongly, that you learn to cook. I think it's a big thing. Dr. Mark Hyman is a cook, and you see that in his book. Recipes are in the great recipes back of his books and here. You can fix a great meal in about 15 minutes, but you have to focus on it. You have to focus on meal preparation. Like you're going to do some soups, which are great. Do them on Sunday night, big bowl. Have them last. If you're going to eat out with somebody at a restaurant, that makes nasty food, you go to the restaurant, but maybe eat a little bit beforehand,
Yes.
And maybe carry some vegetables in your car and eating those. And you can always say, excuse me, I'm not feeling too good. You don't have to necessarily eat what your employer or somebody wants you to eat.
Yeah.
You can kind of play the Daniel game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
When Daniel spoke to the king, he didn't want to eat the way the king ate because the king was way obese. So he convinced him to eat correctly, and he did.
He did. He said vegetables. He ate vegetables, fruits, nuts, and water to drink. So
water to drink, and he ended up very.
Said, watch in 10 days if I don't look better than those guys, and he did.
And he did. Yeah. You encouraged me to read the book of Daniel. Incidentally, I want you to know, although I couldn't seem to. I went and bought a Bible. I had one. I couldn't find it at all. And as I went and bought a Bible at the Christian bookstore, and I read the Daniel chapter, because you said it's really
fascinating.
Good. Fascinating to read it. I did do that, Karen.
Good for you. It's got a lot of history and a lot of prophecy in the end. It's kind of divided in half. It's good. It's encouraging.
It is encouraging. So we have to, you have to make up your mind. This is you want to do that. You want to be healthy, but we want you to consider the whole family. If you're down to dinner, I recommend that if you can, possibly at least 1 or 2 meals a day, have the whole family. This is critical when you read books of pediatricians. in the way to eat, that family meal is extremely important, in that and if you have a child, for example, that now is overweight, for example, don't tell them don't eat sugar. You're the one who buys the food products, buy the correct ones, and introduce them bit by bit, and before they know it, they will have detoxed from the sugar. Don't tell your teenager, we're going to detox from sugar. Obviously, they're drinking sugary drinks. You got to get tough about that. Or maybe even talk to the school. You can't sell these here. Because sugary drinks is 50% of the cause of obesity. Oh yeah, 50%. And we're not against someone being overweight, but if it's making you sick, you better get rid of it, because you want you to live a long time. Because the complications of diabetes, which is rampant in this country, 1 out of 2 people in this nation have diabesity, which is a term actually Dr. Atkins formed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Diabesity.
And which means either pre-diabetes or diabetic. 1 out of 2. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So we need to focus on changing this. I mean, who has perfect nutrition knowledge? I don't. I'm ready to learn, every day. My dad had a deli in New York. You think I always knew what to eat right, for Pete's sake? No. I'm just learning and trying to pass the information on. But again, I'd like to emphasize to you that in medicine, I don't think we've gotten away from this fat theory of illness and put the focus on sugar like we should by a long shot. And we need to take some personal responsibility and focus on that, and maybe read about it a little bit. Another book I like is Sugar Fix by Richard Johnson. It's a very good book that really concentrates on the sugar. Robert Lustig, has a good TV, YouTube site too. 1-hour lecture on that is excellent to read. But I don't think much is going to change till you focus on it. Read on it, no one's going to do it for you. You go to a provider and he writes you a script, here you are, here's your medication. That's not going to change things very much.
Right.
And especially type 2 diabetes, I know a lot about it. I give a lecture on it at the auditorium. Once a month I give a lecture at the Lutheran Auditorium. Consider giving us your email and we'll let you know when they are.
When it's going to happen.
I have about half full of patients with type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, I firmly believe, and so do many other people, that you can get rid of it in a month or 2. If you focus on not eating sugary products, a detox, switch to a nutrient-dense diet. I call it flexitarian, which I'm a flexitarian. Nutrient-dense. I eat some meat products, maybe that's 20%. And I know what the meat products are, that they're healthy meats. Like I said, I'm not against eating some fatty meat products, because they don't increase your insulin level. That's the reason. Sugar sure will do it quick. Fructose will cause fatty liver and make you fat. They think that the biggest cause of liver transplant in the future in this nation, probably in 5 to 10 years, will be non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Wow.
Yeah, sugar.
Wow, from sugar.
From sugar, not alcohol. Because alcohol, we have a big problem with that because it's sugar. And it affects your brain to boot, and it shrinks your brain. Alcohol shrinks your brain. I'm a neurologist, neurosurgeon. I've seen plenty of shrunken brains at operation and on scans. People consume a lot of alcohol, the brain shrinks. But I tell what else shrinks the brain, and you'll read about it right in this book right here, is becoming overweight.
Oh, yeah, I did see something about
Dr.
that.
Amen has it in there.
Yes, it's in
Dr.
here.
Amen
I was
describes
just looking
that
at
if you
that.
get overweight, you notice in the scans, people's brains are shrinking. Narcotics will do it. Alcohol does it worst of all. The narcotics, alcohol, sugar will shrink your brain and affect your memory. Most people think, we get older, a lot of Alzheimer's disease. It's not Alzheimer's disease. It's memory loss and dementia from all the sugar we're eating, which attaches to protein, forms what are called AGEs.
It also causes
glycation products. Advanced glycation product causes depression. And it interferes with the conduction of our brain. And we have memory loss. A lot of dementia, memory loss attached to type 2 diabetes, which 90% of the time is due to sugar consumption. So that's how critical it is. So sort of, what do you think, Karen? We're going to, and you have people now meeting in groups?
Yes, we do.
You meet once a week?
We've been meeting once a week. We've been going over the 5 components. And right now, this week, we did fitness yesterday. We had a great time with the fitness at the church, and we actually even did a prayer walk. We walked all around and just kind of prayed as we walked, which helped to calm the mind and focus as
so
well.
Neat, Karen.
Yes, so thinking good thoughts is a part of focusing as well. And
how you think is everything.
Yes.
But I love a prayer walk. I recently at Homestead took a lady who's got type 2 diabetes, and she's starting to lose weight. I took her on a pretty good walk. I thought it was a half-hour walk. And I had a physician assistant go with me, and I lectured the whole time. But walking actually turned out to be 1 hour. Yeah, well, right by Homestead there.
Yeah.
We walked to Covington and back in time. I look at the clock, 1 hour. I thought it was 30 minutes.
Well, you know, when you're talking, you don't you realize you're walking or you're exercising actually. So.
But I'm so proud of this.
It's been going very well.
This black lady who, through a big smile on her face, I've got her to lose a good 15 pounds now.
Oh, that's good. 15
pounds?
pounds?
She'll be on this TV show because we get her down another 15 pounds. She probably will not have type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
Dr. Furman believes, I believe, Dr. Franklin House believes that you can get rid of type 2 diabetes certainly within 6 months. Most of the time you're off oral medication 1 week, half the amount of insulin 2 weeks.
Wow.
Oh, what a gain. And insulin is an anabolic hormone, makes you gain weight. So
that's you're saying that's from eating and exercising?
Yeah.
Eating properly and exercising.
And exercising together. Together. Just exercise will not cause tremendous weight loss. It'll improve insulin resistance. But the biggest thing is eating the right food. You got to focus on what you're eating. Before we start, I use Rudy's rule. You look at the food, decide what your plan is. I think this is critical. So thanks for listening to our Daniel show. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. This will be on at 7 p.m. next Monday, I think.
Yes,
Send us an email. Send us your email address.
And be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
And be, exactly. If your mind has not changed, it will be difficult to maintain this. We're not talking about 6 weeks here.
It's a lifestyle.
We're talking about a lifetime here. And we love you all.
Yes,
Reverend, thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Doctor.
And we're doing this through faith and religion.
Good doctor, yes.
And Christ, when we present our bodies to Jesus, he's certainly going to ask, what have you done with the body, which had in it the Holy Spirit, and have you treated it properly, and it really in good health, and we love you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
For listening to our show. Until next time, and say a few prayers for us.
And we will for you.
And we will for you. We love you all.
Yes.